Hi everyone, Dr. Linda Manning here in Ottawa, Ontario, with this week's episode of the OCISO Career Mentorship Program series on job search strategies for immigrants in the Canadian workplace. We call this series Managing Your Career on Purpose. Now, last week we talked a bit about the challenges and mistakes that many job seekers make, as well as some advice for a strategic job search that will give you better results. Now, job seekers often try to manage their job search by themselves, but there are lots of resources that will increase your chances of success. This is especially true, I think, for immigrant job seekers because the Canadian job market is full of what seems to be hidden traps. It's a pretty good idea to get professional support from a career mentor or an employment counselor. So this week, I thought we might talk about managing your relationship with your career mentor or employment counselor and what your role and theirs is in your job search. The goal for both of you is to get employment that matches your skills, your experience, and your interest. A career mentor at OCISO is a terrific resource because they are experts in your field and therefore are familiar with the terminology. One of the biggest barriers facing newcomers in the workplace is on-the-job communication. Many people think it's just a matter of English or French proficiency, but the ability to communicate at work is more than just fluency in a second language. Another thing is career mentors also have a professional network in your industry. They know people, and I just can't say enough about the importance of these networks. Your career mentor will know about the industry and the companies that may be hiring as well. Now, I'm here again today with Dr. John Paul Hatala, creator of SnagPad, an expert in strategic job search management and social capital development. Welcome again, JP. I'm glad you can make time in your very busy schedule to talk about challenges for career mentors and employment counselors. It's a tough job market out there.
Thanks for having me, Linda. And I just want to mention, I'm not sure if folks out there know that you're an expert on performance management in multicultural workplaces. You work with employers, especially small and medium-sized employers, to develop talent management processes to maximize productivity and perform is well known across Canada. Your schedule is no less busy than mine, so I appreciate your invitation.
Thanks, JP. These video blogs are not part of my regular work, but the ultimate goal is high performance and productivity in Canadian business. To achieve that, I think top qualified talent needs to be employed in jobs where their skills are optimized. And employers must be able to optimize employee performance efficiently. I'm an economist, so I love finding efficient solutions for performance and productivity. So, back to strategic job search, JP. What do you think is the biggest challenge for career mentors or employment counselors in helping their clients? And I should note that in SnagPad and in your research, you refer to the job coach because your work is not only focused on immigrant job seekers, but for the purpose of this video, I will refer to job coaches as career mentors and employment counselors.
Well, I think, if we look at it from a job seeker's perspective and trying to connect with a job coach is making sure that job coaches provide some structure to the job seeker. So if I'm a job seeker and I'm looking for a coach, I'm looking for their ability to provide me some structure. Because when we're talking and we're in their office and we're chatting, the structure is built in. Where a job seeker really needs structure is when they're on their own and they're actually pounding the streets or they're talking to contacts or they're looking for job opportunities, et cetera, et cetera. And that's what sometimes becomes challenging in a relationship that, the structure is there when we're together, but when we're not together, there's no structure. So if a job coach can overcome that and a job seeker can kind of request that direction, I think the relationship is much more powerful and the greater likelihood for actually finding a job.
Okay. What is the key component to helping a job seeker find work?
And my experience and my research, again, is not saying that looking for work is a full-time job, but looking for work is like self-employment. And what self-employment refers to is that there's an understanding that some structure has to be put in place in order to work through it. When you're working for somebody, they're telling you what to do. They're telling you when you have to take a break. They're telling you when you go home, et cetera, et cetera. When it comes to a job search, it's much more open. And I think when we're not necessarily told what to do, but we're given expectations, we're given activities and tasks to complete. It gives us a sense of comfort, and when we have a sense of comfort, we're more likely to do things. And when we do these things and they're the right things, again, it leads to greater success. And when working with a job coach, it's important that they're assigning tasks that lead to these successes, and they don't have to be a big success all the time of finding a job, but big successes in terms of reaching out to the hidden job market by speaking to different organizations, reaching out and getting some feedback on a resume or a cover letter, or just finding out about hiring trends for a particular industry. Those are the successes that we need to put together, and before you know it, the job seeker has obtained their ultimate objective or goal, which is the job.
I see. So the job coach can actually provide a series of steps that are measurable, where you can measure success, and each successful step gets you closer to your job.
Absolutely. And as you accomplish those steps, you're going to feel, the job seeker is going to feel this sense of success, this sense of accomplishment. And because the job search is so long term, those sense of accomplishment or success is really important, because that in and of itself may motivate you to move on to the next one, to move on to the next one, and before you know it, you accomplish that overall objective.
Mhm. Now, last week you were talking about the biggest challenge for job seekers was motivation. Do you think it's the job coach's responsibility to motivate the job seeker?
Well, that's an interesting question, and I think partly the answer is no. And what I mean by no, it's not the responsibility of the job coach to motivate, make sure that they get up and they do the things. However, indirectly, they're going to motivate a job seeker by assigning them the tasks or giving them an idea of what they need to do in order to be successful. And like I was just saying previously, if a good job coach gives tasks and the job seeker accomplishes them, they're going to get this sense of happiness and this sense of accomplishment, and they're going to be wanting to move on to the next task because they see the bigger picture, that these little steps, if accomplished, help you accomplish this overall objective. And I think, when it comes to motivation, I don't think a job coach has to do it directly, but they definitely have to do it indirectly by the way that they work with the individual and they structure the process and they set the individual or the job seeker up for small successes.
Okay, so in other words, in order to motivate the job seeker, the role of the career mentor or employment counselor is to set up achievable activities and actions for the job seeker.
Absolutely. And achievable, we mean that they're realistic
Mm-hmm.
and they're short term.
Okay, great. Now, how though does the job coach get buy-in from the job seeker to do these things?
Well, I think it's kind of a dual responsibility. I think in my experience working with job seekers, it's making sure that the job seeker is accountable, for their activities and their actions when working with me. If the job seeker is not accountable, obviously it's problematic. We're not going to have any buy-in. But what's critical is basically to demonstrate successes right away. I know job seekers, and for those folks that are listening, if you experience some sort of success right away, you're more likely to buy into what that job coach is doing. So when you're working with a job coach, you almost want to encourage them to kind of set yourself up for success. And again, whether it be reaching out to a potential contact that may be linked to an organization that you want to work for, or just getting a resume reviewed. Believe it or not, those small successes is going to motivate you to move on to the next one. And you'll know right away if a job coach is doing that, because when you're working with a job coach and you're in the office, it's really comfortable because they're structuring the whole process. But when you're out on the street looking for work, that job coach is not necessarily beside you. So you want to make sure that they, set up some objectives, some smaller objectives that can be accomplished that way. And that in and of itself, I think, will motivate a job seeker, to buy into what a job coach is trying to do.
Okay, so it sounds like tracking what the job seeker is doing is important. And last time we talked about SnagPad, which is a tool that, as I understand it, serves as a sort of a virtual coach or mentor for the job seeker, and at the same time allows an actual live job coach or mentor to track the job seeker's progress, which sounds like it would make it even more effective and get better results. JP, how does SnagPad address these potential challenges that face a career mentor or an employment counselor?
Well, it does it quite nicely, actually, because as I was just mentioning, when a job seeker is with a job coach in an office on a call, the structure is there, right? The coach is guiding you through that process. However, when the job seeker goes out and starts looking for work, the job coach is not there. It's just, it's humanly impossible. What SnagPad does is it gives the coach basically a view into what the job seeker is doing when they're not together. And that's what's really critical, because if they get a view into what the job seeker is doing when they're not together, they can provide some suggestions, they can identify challenges that may be impacting, the job seeker's success, et cetera, et cetera. So ultimately, SnagPad, what it does is it provides this structure and it brings two people together simultaneously when it may otherwise be humanly impossible just due to lack of resources and those types of things. So it really gives a good snapshot of what's going on in a job seeker's job search from the job coach perspective, virtually or online.
Well, that sounds pretty cool. It sounds like the SnagPad, what it does is not only give structure to the job search for the job seeker, it also provides some kind of guidance, active guidance, and also then provides a way for the coach to provide that guidance by watching what's happening and what the progress is.
Exactly.
Okay, good. Okay. Well, where does a job coach or an agency get more information about SnagPad? And as always, I'm the economist. How much does it cost?
Mm-hmm. Well, they can go to the website, which is www.snagpad.com. And there's information about what is involved for an agency in getting on board, or an individual job coach in getting on board. And I also encourage them to set up their own account to go in from a job seeker's perspective to see what sort of process and steps they go through. It's basically, in terms of cost, it's on a per coach monthly license. So every time, month per month they pay, and it's nominal fee. But really, they get more information at www.snagpad.com. And if they want to sign up as a job seeker to kind of experience, they can go to www.snagpad.com/Hatala.
Yeah, we mentioned that last time. SnagPad's always free for job seekers. I think that's great. But we recommended that the job coaches and career mentors sign up as a job seeker for free to see what the system does, and so they can see the value of it. And you've also agreed to provide a limited number of free subscriptions to the Job Coach tool for OCISO volunteer career mentors, correct?
Absolutely.
Okay, great. Thanks again, JP, for your time today. I'm sure this has been useful for job seekers and their career mentors and employment counselors. I'm sure also that job seekers will have a better understanding of why they should work with a career mentor or employment counselor and what roles the mentor or coach can play. Well, folks, that brings us to the end of today's job search strategy session. We learned that career mentors and employment counselors provide structure for the job seeker when they're together, but that the challenge is to continue providing structure to support you in your job search when you're on your own. This structure is important for maintaining your motivation and helping you to complete activities. I think it's also essential to being realistic in your job search strategy. It's all about building a set of achievable and measurable goals so that each step gets you closer to your career goal, and each success builds confidence and motivation to keep going. Check out Dr. Hatala's SnagPad. It's one way to manage the steps and measure and track success. It also allows your mentor or employment counselor to advise you even when you're not together, giving you that little bit of extra structure. There are other ways to create the structure needed for a successful job search. Do you know about other ways? Do you know about other tools and resources? Please post the information below in the comment section. Share it with everyone else. And this week, I challenge you to use the comment section below to add your own tips for working with career mentors and employment counselors if you're a job seeker, and adding tips for working with job seekers if you are a mentor or counselor. And if you have a question you'd like to see answered in a future job search strategy, send it to us in a comment. And please, if you have answers you'd like to share, let us know. Thanks, everyone. See you next time.